The way you organize your study is also required to be stated and outlined in the research proposal. In this video, I want to talk to you about how the section on the organization of the study can be worked on. This section provides a summary of the content covered in each chapter. You have a project work, a big topic. It is broken into various chapters. It could be 5 chapters, 6, 7, or any number, depending on how you have decided together with your supervisor to partition your work. It is crucial to ensure that the chapters are arranged nicely and logically. So chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, and so on and so forth. And each of them, you give a brief description of what that chapter will focus on or will deal with. There is the need to avoid including findings. You don't have to include any findings in the outline of the chapter. Results and conclusions are not expected to be there. So findings, results, conclusions must be avoided when it comes to the chapter outline. You simply have to describe the main focus of the chapter. This can be done in a very short paragraph, about 3 to 5 sentences. Simply give a forecast of each of the chapters in the project. Each chapter may be devoted to a key aspect of the research problem or question. In most cases, and with my experience, when it comes to this side, I use the research questions a lot. Sometimes one research question will be dealt with in one chapter. Another research question will be dealt with in another. Or 2 research questions, or at most 3, are dealt with in one chapter. So you outline what each of the chapters will talk about. I am giving an example here. The example shows the organization of work on a literature-based research. So this is not empirical. There is nothing like field work. It is based on literature available. And the research is on the Martian Beatitude, Matthew chapter 5, verse 3 following. In this example, the chapter 1 is general introduction. Normally, the chapter 1 for any research is the general introduction. Some people will say general introduction and background to the study. That is fine, but it revolves around general introduction, sometimes introduction alone, other times general introduction and background to the study. And in a few instances, I've seen background to the study. If you put background to the study there as the chapter title, then the background to the study that I've covered in some video under the research proposal may be the introduction to the research problem. Other than that, the two are going to be the same. Then in this particular project work, the second one, that is chapter 2, is background and context of the Beatitudes. So chapter 2, background and context of the Beatitudes. Chapter 3, exploring the message of the Martian Beatitude. Exploring the message of the Martian Beatitude. Then we have chapter 4, implications of the message of the Beatitudes for discipleship. Chapter 5, summary, conclusion, and recommendations. The last chapter 2, normally it follows the same pattern. Summary, conclusion, and recommendations. So over here, some people will simply say conclusion. That is fine, but it will still contain these elements. Now, these are the chapter headings. Let's see how we can put flesh on each of them to form the chapter outline as part of the research proposal. Here, it is important to use the future tense because you are yet to conduct the research. So let's see how it goes. The first chapter will deal with the statement of the problem, the purpose of the study, the significance of the study, research questions, the scope of the study, methodology, and limitations, among others. You can add 1 or 2 sentences to it. For example, you can say that this chapter forms the foundation for further explorations in the other chapters of the research. If you have any other thing, you can add. Chapter 2. The second chapter will look at the historical background as well as the literary context of the text. So the historical background and the literary context of the text. That is the focus. If you have one or two things to add, you can add. So it is something brief. You are telling us what it is about. You are not supposed to give us any detail as to how you go about it. Those ones are found in the methodology. Moving on, chapter 3. The third chapter will employ the exegetical method to explore the message of the Beatitudes. Then, chapter 4. The fourth chapter will draw lessons from the Beatitudes for contemporary discipleship. Then finally, chapter 5. The fifth chapter will provide the summary and conclusion of the entire study and recommendations both for future researchers and for the church. Basically, you have the chapter, its heading, and a description of what you intend to do. When the research proposal is accepted and the research is conducted, you now change these future tense to present tense. So chapter 1 deals with, chapter 2 focuses on, chapter 3 examines, and so on and so forth. I believe strongly that this video has enriched your knowledge as far as this section of the research proposal is concerned. After watching, please leave your comment there, ask your question, and let us begin to interact. God richly bless you.